I promised to pick my grandpa up from the hospital. He came to get me first. The last story my Didio ever told me was about a boy who fed his life to the dirt. He told it to me in that bleached, sterile room that smelled of antiseptic and slow decay. He was a scarecrow propped up on pillows, his skin thin as parchment, his Connemara blue eyes lost in their sockets. But when he spoke, the room vanished. The beep of the heart monitor faded into the whisper of wind over barren fields. A mihik, he rasped, his hand a bundle of twigs gripping mine. You think you know hunger. You don't. During Engorda Moor, the Great Hunger, it wasn't just a lack of food, it was a presence. A thing that sat on your chest at night and hollowed you out from the inside. They called it a famine, but it was a reaping. His eyes weren't looking at me anymore. They were seeing 150 years ago. There was this Lord Sea, an English bastard with more land than God. One morning, he takes his carriage out to look at a new field he wants, a beautiful slope rolling right down to the sea. He falls asleep on the way, dreaming of picnics with his pretty wife and his little girls. Didio coughed, a dry, rattling sound. I offered him the plastic cup of water, but he waved it away. His driver stops the carriage, shouts. There's a boy in the road, an obstacle. The Lord gets out, all annoyed, rubbing the sleep from his face. The boy's maybe 16, maybe 60. Hard to tell. He's just a skeleton draped in skin, his eyes like two black holes, and his mouth is stained green. From the grass, I whispered. Didio's grip tightened on my hand. Aye, from the grass. The Lord looks down his nose and sneers. Why do you block my path, you filthy cur? And what have you been eating to stain your muzzle so? The boy's voice is like leaves skittering on stone. He says he means no harm. He's just trying to get to the stone wall on the other side of the road. He wants to lean against it and look at the hill. He points a finger, a long, knotted branch of a thing, at the very same field the Lord came to see. Then get up and go, the Lord says. I permit you to gaze upon my property. But the boy just slumps. He has no strength, and he whispers, "'Tis not yours." A flicker of something hard and vital sparked in Didio's eyes. It was the man I remembered from my childhood, not the frail patient in the bed. The Lord goes purple. He starts ranting, shouting to his driver. Did you hear him, Michael? This wretch owns my field. This king of sod and squalor. He was frothing, Kalen, spitting. He turns to the boy. Allow me to escort your majesty to your throne. And he kicks him. He drives his fine leather boot into the boy's ribs again and again, shoving him across the dirt road. My stomach clenched. I could hear the wet thud of the boot, the snap of bone. The only sound was the boy's bones breaking. When the Lord was finished, he got back in his carriage and rode away. The boy lay there, blood and bile and green spittle leaking from his mouth onto the earth. And with his last breath, he didn't pray to God. He prayed to the ground that had been his only meal. He whispered, Mo Shao Kriaknaith. My life is finished. Didio paused, and for a second I thought the story was over. But then he leaned closer, his breath smelling of dust and something else, something metallic. But he said one more thing, Amihik. He said, A.K. Mokras, Derich Tosaith. But my hunger has just begun. And the grass listened. Years later, that same Lord is having his picnic on that very hill. His family is laughing. He gets up to stretch, trips on nothing, and falls flat on his face. His wife and daughters giggle, thinking he's playing the fool. But he doesn't get up. His wife goes to him, and she screams. His head is twisted all the way around, facing the sky. And his face, it's cross-hatched with 1,000 tiny cuts, as if every single blade of grass rose up and sliced him to ribbons. He fell back against the pillows, spent. The heart monitor beeped its steady, oblivious rhythm. Glad to be going home? I asked, my voice thick. He managed a weak smile, desperate for it. Just wish it was today. Mum was right to make you stay the extra day, though. You look better. I feel it, he said, and it almost sounded true. I love you, Kaylin. You know that, don't you? A lump formed in my throat, hearing those words from him now, so frail and worn, it hit me hard. I love you too, Didio. Do me a favor, he asked, his eyes pleading. Collect me yourself tomorrow. Your mother, I don't want to be any more of a burden on her. Of course, I promised. And, Ronan, your dad, how is he? He says you've still got plenty of fight left in you, I said, forcing a laugh. Didio chuckled, a dry rustle. That I do. I've prayed for it. So you'll come for me? Tomorrow, I promise. Good lad. Now go on. A young fella shouldn't be wasting his day with a broken-down old man. He let go of my hand, and I left feeling lighter than I had in weeks. On the drive home, I decided I'd finally tell them. Tell Mum and Dad I was flunking out of my course, that I didn't care, that I wanted to work at the bar full-time and help them out. With Didio coming home, maybe things could finally start getting better. The smell of Dad's stew hit me as soon as I opened the door. Mum was at the table, scribbling in a little notebook her therapy journal. She looked up and smiled, a real smile, and Dad waved a wooden spoon from the stove. The perfect moment I'd been planning to ruin suddenly felt too precious to break. I couldn't do it. We ate together, really together, for the first time in months. They laughed. It was the sound I remembered from before Dad lost his job, before that faint white scar appeared on Mum's wrist. I have an idea, Dad announced, pushing his empty bowl away. He disappeared out the back door and returned a moment later, holding up a dark green bottle, a triumphant grin on his face. Look what Papa found. Mum clapped her hands. Ronan, where on earth did you get that? Your da, he said, his eyes twinkling. Called me this morning from the hospital, said he wanted to make things right. Told me he got that young nurse Sorcha, the one Kaylin has a soft spot for, to get him a bottle of poison. A peace offering. I felt my face get hot. When did you go see him? Well, Dad paused, uncorking the bottle. I didn't. He said Sorcha was afraid to bring it into the hospital, so he told her to leave it for me. Said I'd know where. He pulled 3 small glasses from the cupboard. Told me to check the hollow in the old yew tree by the front gate. The air in the room went still for a second. The yew tree was where they'd scattered my grandmother's ashes. So we're drinking graveyard moonshine? I joked, trying to break the weird tension. Dad shrugged, pouring a clear, viscous liquid into each glass. It smells right. He took a sip. Tastes right, too. And that's what we did. We sat and drank my grandfather's peace offering. It was strong, with a strange, earthy taste under the fire, like peat and damp soil. It didn't make me feel drunk, not really. Just warm, then heavy. So incredibly heavy. After my 3rd glass, my head was swimming. After my 4th, I mumbled a good night and stumbled towards my room, leaving my parents to finish the bottle. I don't remember my head hitting the pillow. I don't remember anything but the thick, syrupy darkness that pulled me under. The next thing I knew was a smell. Damp earth. And cold. A mahik? My eyes peeled open. The world was a spinning, dark mess. The smell was stronger now. It was coming from him. Didio? He stood over me. Not a scarecrow anymore. He was wearing his paper-thin hospital gown, but he was standing straight, his shoulders back. He hooked a hand under my arm and pulled me to my feet. His strength was shocking. It was wrong. Get up, son. It was wrong. Get up, son. My head swam. I looked past him down the dark hallway. At the kitchen table, I could see 2 shapes, slumped over in their chairs. My parents. They were perfectly still. Didio, what are you doing here? What's wrong with them? Panic began to cut through the fog in my head. He raised a finger to his lips. It was caked with dirt, the nail long and yellowed. Hush now. Come with me. His voice wasn't a rasp anymore. It was deeper, rougher, like rocks grinding together. No, I said, trying to pull away. Tell me what you did to them. His eyes locked onto mine. They weren't blue anymore. In the gloom, they looked like 2 black holes. Come with me, he boomed, the voice rattling in his chest, in the walls. Now. I was terrified. I was a child again, and he was the giant from the stories. I followed him, my feet clumsy and numb, out the front door and into the freezing night air. Get in the car, he commanded, his voice dropping to that gravelly whisper again. Didio, please, what is happening? He reached into the pocket of his gown. What he pulled out wasn't a key. It was a scalpel, the tiny blade catching a sliver of moonlight, winking like a cruel star. Kalen. He pointed it at my chest. Get in the driver's seat. The field is hungry.